Yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of fun though.
Yeah.
I think I'm still hungover.
I'm gonna go get some beers.
Do that. Hurry.
Give me a sarsaparilla.
Old man's taking the chair.
Well, the first thing today was the big keynote, Microsoft keynote.
Yeah, of course.
The first 20 minutes of it felt like an infomercial from 2006. It was almost like 360 is still relevant. Please keep making games for it. You can make money on it.
Yeah.
It wasn't until near the end where they had the gameplay demonstrations for Fable 2 and Ninja Gaiden. That's when it was actually exciting.
Enough of death and mayhem, let's go and meet my family. Down here, I've got a little farmhouse which I bought with my money, and I moved my family into it. We've been married for 5 years, and we had a baby. That means I was pregnant, as I said. We had a baby, and I haven't been back home for about 6 months now. So let's go and see what the reception's like.
Peter Molyneux showing off what the legitimately potentially remarkable aspects of Fable, where you can have a child, orphan the child, have the child become bitter as fuck because you orphaned him, and then caught you eating these sumptuous meals while he or she was eating rotten apples and stuff, and then come back and go for some patricide or something like that.
He shot my husband! My poor son is now an orphan. And that moment is real. It's not staged.
He is the world's greatest salesman. Every time he gives a demo, you walk out of it going, I gotta play this. This is the best game ever. And then when it comes out, you go, oh. So I mean, no offense, because he's made some great games, but this is, for me, this is like, I'll believe it when I see it, Fable 2,
But the fact that they're in an action game introducing something like pregnancy and stuff, I mean, even no matter how rudimentary the execution is, like, that's an interesting step. I mean, that's something that's untouchable.
I'm really excited for Fable 2 as well, but I'm not convinced about the combat. The one-button combat.
That seems silly.
Yeah, context-sensitive one-button combat. We'll see. Like, I like my action RPGs to have some finesse, some gameplay, some moves.
I go back to like Assassin's Creed, which mostly had one-button combat with, I guess, some defensive moves or whatever. And I think it can be done really well and enjoyably. But like you said, we won't know until
we're not gonna know.
yeah.
Goddamn locust.
Gears of War 2, the teaser, we all knew about it, but yeah, I mean, it was a good tease. I was more excited about the things they were showing with Unreal Engine, like the water effects and that stuff. Really
so I was just reading a live blog of it. Was that really impressive? Because it totally, of course, it doesn't come across in a live blog. It's like, there's a cube of meat now rolling around. It's like, okay, is that really that impressive? Like, there are really 2,000 people just sitting there watching this?
It wasn't anywhere near. I mean, compared it to a few GDCs ago when they first unveiled that engine. Right. I mean, and then everyone was like, whoa, you come out of it talking about it. This was like, okay, there's cube of meat in it.
But it was like a shinier cube of meat. Right?
It looked like carne asada from the Mission Street.
They spent a lot of time focusing on the community. I keep forgetting what it's called. XNA community.
Well, XNA Creators Club. People have been making games using the XNA Creators Club tools, which cost $100 to jump into for about over a year now. So what they announced now is that people who are not a part of the Creators Club, just Xbox Live users, will finally be able to see these games. When you're trying to find them, it kind of makes it seem like you need to pay $100, but you really can download them for free, but you only have 70 days to play them. It's a little bit weird right now.
Did you guys play any of them? Did you download them?
Dishwasher?
Dishwasher's fucking awesome.
That's definitely the best looking one, and Jelly Car was kind of interesting. But the overall takeaway I thought from Microsoft, it was kind of like, yeah, everything's fine, because there was a little concern, like what is their lineup, what's really coming out this year. Seeing Fable 2 with co-op, that's new, and seeing Ninja Gaiden 2 looking really good. And I think they were just here like, we have games, and they're good games.
Nintendo also finally announced a US launch date for WiiWare, which is May 12th. The two projects, they're very different. Microsoft's still kind of stumbling and sort of figuring out how to make it work, but they're definitely taking the lead in making user-created content for a console and opening it up. Whereas Nintendo, I went in for a WiiWare interview today and I didn't really come out with anything. It's the usual Nintendo, everything is shrouded in secrecy. Will games have a memory cap size? Like an Xbox Live Arcade, they might, but they won't say what it is.
Nintendo's keeping secrets? That's strange.
Yeah, I really feel like we're going to need to figure these things out by talking to other developers, because Nintendo is not being very forthright about it. WiiWare games will still go through the standard Nintendo QA quality assurance, make sure that they actually function and work. But again, they're leaving quality up to the developers, and as we've seen on Wii, that doesn't always work quite right.
Reggie was saying mature rated games could happen, things you wouldn't expect, and they're really trying to foster unique and creative ideas that you couldn't, that the publishers wouldn't let you do. They're like, since we're the publisher here, the game that your company won't let you make, come make it on WiiWare.
We saw Lost Winds,
which I think is the coolest looking one.
It looks cool. It's basically Mario Galaxy in 2D. You don't attack at all. You move around with the analog stick, and then you move wind with the remote. So you blow your guy around if you want to. You blow him up in the air. You can draw things that he'll loop around on.
I feel like the creators who work with WiiWare are pushing themselves into a very closed system, and it's all going to be very much in the traditional Nintendo model, where everything is kind of, hidden away from the public.
One of the games that I saw that I hope is a sign of something new that more people are going to be doing is that Bionic Commando Rearmed. It's not like an old port, just a port of an old game with an enhanced mode that has a few effects on it.
You can't just make the graphics nice and that's good enough. Because if you really go back and play those 8-bit games, a lot of them, they're great in your mind, in your memories, but when you actually sit there and play them, it's this is frustrating as crap.
Right.
And there's just a single tweak here or there, and some of it was actual limitations of the hardware, like you couldn't save without a save battery in the actual cartridge or whatever.
Right.
Just adding that little bit would make the gameplay experience all the better. Analyzed the original, sat there, talked it over, what needs to be added, what doesn't, and in general kept the wire mechanic because that was perfect. But then the way that the bullets worked, you could sit there on the first stage and just kill enemies over and over and over and get your life expanded, and just that wasn't really well thought out either.
They're not a slave to the older game. They don't completely throw it out, and they don't just completely remake it.
Like the first boss is called the Beetle. The idea is, let's take it all back to the wire. It's supposed to be about the bionic arm. And so for this boss, you have to throw barrels at it because you can pick up barrels, you can interact with your background. And so they put that in there. And when we first did it, it was good, but it wasn't that great. And then we have, fortunately, the Japanese staff here that are looking at it, and Japanese designers are great at making bosses. And so they took one look at it and go, you know what, this needs a second phase. You should be able to knock it down, and then when you shoot it, the idea of shooting its core, which is from the original game, is now intact in the game. So wouldn't that be better?
Shooting the flashing red spot.
It's very 2D.
Yeah.
If it was in 3D, it would be annoying.
Right.
Too many 3D games do that. But in 2D, it fits.
Right. You guys are adding new stuff. There's some stuff you're not talking about yet, but one of the things you are talking about is the new challenge rooms mode, which is kind of they're almost like the Metal Gear Solid VR missions.
Correct. The thing again about Bionic Commando is that the swing mechanic, we wanted to say, hey, this can be expanded. This is so fun. We're going to create little swing puzzles. So these challenge stages, they challenge you to figure out the best way to time your swing and how to go through these different stages. They're really quick. You get into them, and then the whole thing is just trying to beat it. And they're just so quick that if you die, you come right back in over and over and over again until you can beat it. And the best thing is, it's going to be something that's on Xbox Live, of course, and PSN. And so you can challenge world rankings and try and be the best.
If they can make money at this, if this is a new thing, it really could be like a great way to like bring the classics back instead of these like collections, which are fine, which are great, but like bringing it back in a way that really makes them relevant again.
The other thing going on at Capcom, of course, is Street Fighter. Did anyone get to go check out the new characters or anything?
Crimson Viper?
She looks good.
I thought I was laughing the first time I saw her.
Looks like an SNK character?
She looks ridiculous, yeah. Seeing her in the game, I don't know why, but she looked really cool. She has like, you know, these flame and electric thing to her attacks, like some cool effects. But I think she's based on Angelina Jolie, actually.
That's hot.
if you take like a close look at her concept art, I kind of.
Does she have like a bunch of multi-ethnic children, like with her?
The other new character is Abel, yeah, who kind of reminds me of Cody, actually. I talked with Seth Killian from Capcom, as the community guy, is all about Street Fighter 4. He ran the Evo tournament, and he's actually his favorite character. Wow. Yeah, so I mean, it bodes well for the two new characters. It's moved so fast. There were 2 characters when we played it in September. Now there's 10, and the character select screen, there's like 8 characters up here and 2 down on the bottom. So it seems like
at least 16.
Maybe 16, but there's definitely going to be more characters. Yeah, it sucked because we were at this arcade show in Japan where I played it, and the line got so long so fast that I knew I had one chance. So, you know, I played it safe. I chose Guile, my boy. The guy did a taunt at me. Like, he's only played the game like 3 or 4 times max, right? It's like, I was like, do you work at Capcom? What the fuck? Like, you fucking taunted me. Like, that's not cool.
What about all the conferences we did?
The Chris Taylor saying that PC Games is dead one?
No, I was talking about the one in 230 that was, wait, who was this one? It was Cliff Blazinski saying PC Gaming is dead?
Oh, you went to that one? Oh, I went to the Peter Molyneux one where he said PC Gaming is dead. So,
well, was that before or after the PC Gaming Alliance about how PC Gaming is dead, but we could revive it?
Oh, that was, yeah, okay, so so you went to the one about it being alive?
At Microsoft's keynote, no mention of PC gaming at all. Yeah, they're focused on 360, and I think they're letting PC language where they could be helping it.
It's the indie scene that saves Steam. That is what saves PC gaming. I mean, PC gaming may be dead to Cliff Blazinski and to Microsoft because they're only thinking, AAA $100 million, $10 million, $15 million titles. Yeah.
They used to be happier with the smaller numbers. It's not like the PC gaming numbers are smaller or shrinking. They're actually bigger. It's just that they got fucking greedier. Yeah. So what used to be like an acceptable success to them isn't that anymore.
Well,
they're looking at the console numbers. They could work on a smaller budget. They could if they wanted to.
Right.
And if they were willing to say a success is a 200,000 selling game, which it used to be. But now they just look at Halo 3 and they're thinking it's not a success unless I make that.
The big thing for us was going by IGF and seeing, all these like indie games that, are made by like two people, one guy. We've gone by there in years past, but this year the games seemed much more polished. Like they almost seemed like full products, much more so than I've ever used to see.
Probably just because more people are seeing this as a viable way to make a living. Whereas before it was more just like, I'm gonna do this for me and my buddies. Now you're seeing games really take off in a viral way. So you've got more and more people with a lot of talent who previously wouldn't have had any real avenue into the games business, making a hit the first time out of the bat just from working at home with like one dude.
There was a couple general themes, I think, for IGF. The first theme was, that these indie games are viable and awesome.
Fez is like my dream video game. It's, a 2D platformer that exists coherently in 3D space. And it's not like Super Paper Mario where you turn it sideways and all of a sudden you're moving in 3D. Like you're always moving on a 2D plane, but you turn the world around and your platforms shift.
it's so hard to make, you know, nice looking 3D environments. The textures, the modeling, the optimization. Whereas with Trixels, the engine we have right now is we take these blocks and we just carve into them like pixel by pixel. It's a breeze. It's super easy.
Wow, really?
I would like to let the player at some point play with that because it's like digital Legos.
I heard that you were going to produce a game here at the IGF.
When I'm not carrying your camera bags,
Yeah.
I produce a game. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I moonlight as a game producer.
Nice. Jason's job is to make it sound awesome also. True. What are you aiming for with Fez, with the music for Fez?
So obviously it's 8-bit because a lot of the sounds are 8-bit. But I want it to be a lot more modern, so rhythmically it's a little more complex. And then I add a lot of effects onto it, distortions and delays and reverb.
So you're filtering the shit out of it.
In real time, so it adds a whole new dimension.
There's an old man who talks to you and gives you advice and suggestions, and he has this broken English that's exactly like the old dude who gives you the sword in Zelda.
I wanted to make a game that would have a very low level of resistance between the player and the mechanics. Right. A game that basically people who stopped playing games when they got overcomplicated in 3D could still enjoy.
Right. Even though it introduces a new mechanic.
Yeah, it can be a bit daunting to wrap your head around that concept at first, but that's one of the reasons why I'm using so many like classic gaming cliches in the game. Yeah. Like you can clearly say that the little vase is from Zelda, and there's a lot of Mario in there because I wanted to make the game super like inviting and comfortable, and like a warm, happy place. I don't know. I like blue skies for Regress. Right. You know, bring back the blue skies.
Right. The second theme was the use of audio in games. Several of them were super innovative. I mean, there was like audio surf, of course. It seems to me that certain songs are very well suited to certain modes of play. Mono and Ninja Mono. I like that best with Daft Punk. For some reason, like the other modes, I have a really hard time with that. Have you noticed that at all? That the different modes are better for some tracks?
Definitely, there's definitely a pattern there. And you start browsing by artist, and you look up, Dragon Force, and everybody's playing Ninja Mono. And I think that kind of goes with the audience for the music. If you look up Bob Dylan, you're not going to find many mono players.
And Uki Blocks totally uses music in a way that I didn't even think it. Like you see it and you see the puzzle, you see the monkey flying back and forth, and so you can only move if you're jumping. So, but you can move in any four directions, and the idea is to hit these blocks that have bananas on them. And when you hit those blocks that have the bananas, it actually plays the melody. They were telling me that their algorithm that they used to generate the sound samples is similar to what Dylan Fitterer used in Audio Surf. My third theme that I would have for the IGF stuff is that these guys are totally in love with gaming and gaming development.
And you could get a game published without being an IGF, obviously. It's not the only way to go, but it helps. If we make it to IGF, we're gonna get all the attention. The publishers are gonna be aware of us.
Yeah.
It really helps.
Of course, I was thinking about you talking about this, what was this monkey game? Right, and also Audio Surf, which I downloaded last night and which is amazing, and comparing it to you talking about, Epic's fucking cube of meat, like that's what's important to them, at this point it's the shinier meat.
Big game development has become so expensive, and the studio system is so huge, it takes such a large staff that enthusiasm often kind of gets lost in the budgets and the PR and the trailers. And
I was in World of Warcraft last night, and everybody in the guild was saying, I'm gonna log off to play Audio Surf, So this game that 10 million people are playing, people are leaving to go play this little tiny you know, but that's so
One
cool.
guy project.
I think like the big boys should be ashamed right now. I mean, I used to work at this like video game studio in Montreal, and they would put like 10, 15 people on a DS project or something, and it wasn't very good.
Right.
It wasn't very good at all. And then they see like this one guy or these two guys making a game that is awesome, and they probably, I hope they go like, we're doing something wrong.
Right.
Here. We're here with, you know, our paid jobs and budgets and publishers and technology, and Fez was made for no money.
Yeah.
At all. It cost us $100 to enter IGF, and that's it.
Are people thinking, hey, I'm going to get bought. My game is going to be the next everyday shooter. I'm going to get the golden ticket.
I did get the sense, you know, from talking to like the Synesthete guys, you know, because they are students, you know, this is what they want their career to be, that they're there and they want to get picked up by somebody.
And then you've got kids like that was the Cactus kid. There's a kid who's just called Cactus.
And how do you pronounce your name? Jonathan Soderstrom?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Close enough.
You know, he made a game in 2 hours on Monday morning before he came to the show. These guys are hardcore, and they'll like come up with a concept, prototype it, and make it in like a day.
There's a lot of people like that are in it for the love of the medium and for the love of games. I could have spent my entire day there, and it's like there's always kind of a handful of those games, you know, at GDC, but this year every single one. In fact, I talked to multiple guys there, and they were saying that if I lose tonight, you know, during the competition, I'll be fine with it because I totally respect all of these other games.
Because all three, you know, platform holders now have a reason to go after these games. So I think it is increasingly going to become a more like, you know, going after the unsigned bands, like the major labels fighting over them. And I think it'll be interesting in a year to see how it changes again. Because in the last year, it's changed so much.
It's kind of like punk rock, really, in a way, you know? All these people said, you know what? I don't have to listen to fucking Journey and Styx and learn how to play guitar and spend 12 years, you know, learning how to masturbate on the fretboard. I can just like learn 3 chords and I can call myself a band. You know, I think that's what you're seeing now. It's almost like a revolution.
I think the PC indie scene is getting a boost from the console indie scene and from Steam and that sort of thing. Like, that has made it viable for these people to be able to make money doing this little punk rock thing that they do on the side.
It's worth noting that Introversion, whose Darwinia was one of the contenders, you know, for the same contest a few years ago, is now definitely they're set. And last I heard from them, they're bringing in a constant stream of sales, even though it's not like phenomenal, but it's like they're definitely making a profit every single month.
Well, look at PopCap. I mean, shit, you could arguably call them AAA at this point.
Yeah, all the big name games look old. Even seeing the games like at the Microsoft press conference, like these games that I really want to play and do have new cool features that, like, you know, recording safe films in Ninja Gaiden, that's cool. You know, like co-op in Fable, super cool. But you know, the indie games are just like so much more interesting to me now. Someone asked me last night, like Ken Levine was like, what game are you looking forward to this year? And I was like,
Fez.
I said, well, you know, Spore, I guess, but like, really, it's the tiny games. I just want a lot of cool tiny games to come out this year that surprise me.
I don't wanna go to work today. Wanna stay home and play all my video games. No, I don't wanna take it nice and slow. I wanna get ready to go on the one-up show. On the one-up show, you know you'll be a star. On the one-up show, you already are. Every day, it's like a holiday. So long, goodbye, I'm gonna run away right now. Game on, all night, I'm gonna be on the one-up show. On the one-up show, one-up, 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 on the one-up show. One-up, 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 on the one-up show. One-up, 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 on the one-up show.
Like Alex Seropian, one time Bungie, then you go see his game.
Alex Fallopian?
Dude. Jeff and I like to get Soapy and nude and play games made by that Seropian dude.
You've been saving that up.
Somewhere Leon is like suddenly has the urge to masturbate, like, and he doesn't know why. He's just like, it's like hand moving down to his pants.